not sure when I had my first cold press. I think it was in Los Angeles while I was visiting a friend, or it could have been back home in Michigan. There's this upscale area, downtown Birmingham. I probably had it there, or maybe it wasn't. Again, I really don't know when I had my first cold press juice, but I'll never forget discovering Fairhope Juice. I mean, who knew this local gym would be whipping up fresh, healthy options in Lower Alabama? I was driving back from teaching one of my yoga classes. I passed the sign, Fairhope Juice. I almost got whiplash, turning my car around and pulling into the parking lot. I walked in, and that's when I met Lorie. She started Fairhope Juice in 2019 after leaving a 15-year pharmaceutical career. Lorie tells me she felt conflicted seeing rampant chronic disease and medication reliance when her true passion was for nutrition. It led her to take a giant leap into juicing. Get ready as we dive into the world of cold press juicing. This is Living It Up with Lenise. Cold press juices have become all the rage over the last years here, and for some really good reasons. It started gaining mainstream popularity in early 2010, especially in cities like Los Angeles and New York, with popular companies like Blueprint Cleanse and Juice Press helping to make cold press juice even more popular. But in Lower Alabama, it's all about the Fairhope Juice Company, created by Lorie Ward after leaving a 15-year pharmaceutical career. I am curious about her journey into this world of cold pressed juices. Lorie, welcome to the show. I just gave a brief introduction, but please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your juicing business.
Hi, my name is Lorie Ward, and I'm the owner-operator of a small cold pressed juice company called Fairhope Juice in just my little small town here in Alabama.
Okay, do you remember when we first met?
Yes, actually I do. I think I'm your very first cold pressed juice. Am I right?
Well, for this area, yes.
Okay. So yes, you came in and were asking questions, and I do remember that you came from yoga, and that was the first time we'd met, and I suggested a Jubilee because of the turmeric and ginger to help you with recovery afterwards.
Yes. And to this day, that is one of my favorite blends.
Yes. And of course, I didn't know who you were. And all these people ran in afterwards and told me what a local celebrity you were. And that shame on me for not knowing. I'm like, she's a yogi.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. A yogi at heart. I think you have such an interesting story. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to further explore your journey and learn more about how you came into this industry of juicing. You left a corporate career to start Fairhope Juice. That's really brave.
Yes. So, my background really is in dietetics and exercise phys, but when I went out into the world to find that career, I became a pharmaceutical representative and worked with a company for 15 years and worked my way up and, was in leadership and did a lot of travel. I'm so grateful for the experience because everywhere I went, I still was looking for great nutrition, looking for the juice bars, looking for healthy options. But on the flip side, every day I was in an office looking at people holding boxes of medications that they had to present to their doctor to show what they were on and get organized. And, just seeing all this chronic disease sitting in these waiting rooms while I was waiting to go back and have my, 30 seconds to 2 minutes with a doctor to talk about my drugs. It was a bit of a quandary for me to have one lifestyle and know what it did and then see what I was seeing every day in these offices. But again, it was grateful education, great training, amazing people I worked with, and honor so much the doctors and nurses and people that were there to treat these folks.
It can be a scary leap of faith, leaving stability and a lucrative career to take a chance on entrepreneurship. I'm wondering if there was a specific experience or moment that pushed you towards the edge and ultimately enabled you to take the jump.
Throughout the entire time, I had continued to take education in nutrition, whether it was a raw food culinary class, food healing, integrative nutrition, every kind of class I could take for cooking, raw foods or vegan. And so I was feeling that need, but after a good 17, 18 years, my company had been bought out by a really big corporation. And I think sometimes things just have to get so painful that you make the leap. I was no longer afraid. I'd built myself up to a point. I felt like my financial status was in order. I was single. And it was kind of this, what do I have to lose kind of feeling. I finally had that feeling like, you know what, I can always go back, but why not try the thing that I've always wanted to do for well over 30 years, something that I dreamed about. So, it just got to the point where it wasn't the same company. It wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. And I went out to a conference about juicing. And when I left, I bought a $15,000 cold press and wasn't afraid to spend that money and came back not knowing what I was going to do with it or where I was going to put it. But I knew I was going to do something. I haven't looked back since.
So many people listening can relate to what you're saying, wanting more meaning or fulfillment in their work and just not sure or know where and just not sure where or how to make that change. Talk to me about the early days of starting your business. I'm sure there were some challenges. I mean, you went headfirst in, spending $15,000 on a juicing machine, and then what?
Exactly. Then what? It was, my original goal, not knowing much about laws, FDA laws around raw juice, was to just have a little side gig. My friend owned a yoga studio. Shout out to Emily Somerville at Soulshine Yoga, who had encouraged me to do this. I get this juicer home. I'm practicing recipes. I have a small house, so I'm rolling it into the kitchen at night when I have time and, making a mess. In the meantime, I'm going around talking to restaurants and trying to find space that they would let me use their commercial kitchen, because that was one thing I did know: you couldn't make it at your house and sell it other places. Talking to the health department, figuring things out. And fortunately, I met this wonderful human being, Jennifer Hafner, and I loved her business at the Warehouse Bakery and Donuts. And I went to see her. I had all my branding already done, all my stuff. I brought juice, and I was so nervous because I have such respect for her. And she said, yeah, let's sit down and talk. And, if we can work it out, you can use the kitchen at night, make the juice and sell it here. And we worked it out from there. So that was the very, very beginning, June 2019. I put my first, I think I had 3 recipes and maybe 4 of each out in their cooler. All I did for marketing was social media, which I had very few followers. And all my friends came. My father was my first customer.
Oh.
Sure to get the first juice. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Snowballed fast, really.
And so you started with 3 juices, and you've got even more now. I love the way you incorporate new flavors, and all of the names have meaning.
Oh, well, it's funny how we come up with names. First of all, my first juice was Soulshine, and that was in honor of Emily at Soulshine for being my biggest champion. And then Jubilee was my friends at Jubilee Suites Hotel when I was looking for a place. Dana Maloney immediately started out trying to find a place for me and recommending places. She would have done it at her boutique hotel if she could, but they didn't have a commercial kitchen. I have things like Lola. Lola's because we were playing Barry Manilow when I created Lola. It's a pineapple pear ginger. And, so it's a lot of fun in the kitchen, dancing around, singing. Nobody's around. puts a lot of happiness in the juice.
Happiness in the juice. I love that. And you show that too in your videos on your social media pages as you walk us through your typical days there. So yeah, what is a typical day like for you in the juice making process now that your company has grown?
Well, now, so what happened after quitting, I ended up retiring, I call it, from the pharmaceutical industry in October. I started juicing in June, retired in October. Things were going well. And then COVID hit and the restaurants shut down. So it was a big like, uh-oh, what do we do now? Burning through the savings pretty quick. And then Ken Buck came along, who has been in the restaurant business in the area for a long time and owned this sweet little gas station. We call it a gastaurant in Point Clear near the Grand Hotel and next to Little Point Clear Hotel. And he had this little side part to the building that used to be an old liquor store, but it had been shut down, closed off, needed a lot of work, was filthy. Like nobody went in there, nobody looked at it. And he said, if you want to get this cleaned up, you can bring a cooler down here and start selling your juice. And so I quickly jumped on that opportunity and started getting that ready. So fast forward now, I have 2 places. And with juice law, you have to sell it where you make your juice. So now I have a juicer at the Warehouse Bakery and a juicer down at Battles Wharf Market. And so my days can be really full at times in that I have to make the juice for the warehouse when they close at 5. So that could be anywhere from 5 till midnight, 2:00 in the morning when the very beginning times. And then down at Battles Wharf, I usually open about 8:00 if I have the juice there from the day before. And I'll juice about 4 to 6 hours there. I'm there till about 2:00, but generally it's a really happy time with customers coming in and out. They can see me making juice. They know that the owner of the business, that their heart and soul's in it. And they're the ones touching every bit of the process, from purchasing the produce to cleaning and culling the produce to grinding it and pressing it and bottling it. So there's definitely a lot of love and passion, and I'm happy every single day doing what I do. And I feel like people come in and sit and we talk and we joke that we solve all the problems of the world just right there in that little shop,
You have 2 locations where people can find your cold pressed juices, the main location in Point Clear and the Warehouse Bakery in Fairhope. I want to talk a little bit about the process of juicing cold press juices specifically for people listening who may not be aware. It refers to juices that are extracted by crushing or pressing the produce at a low temperature, and that is what helps to preserve the nutrients that can sometimes be lost with heat exposure. Advocates claim cold pressed juices have more nutrients compared to traditional juices. Some benefits of consuming cold pressed juices include improved immunity, detoxification, weight loss, and better skin. All of this I know you are fully aware of. There are some fears, though, about the amount of sugar in cold pressed juices, into which I'm guessing you would say moderation is the key.
What's so funny is that each one has its moment, and you can never guess when it's going to be. Like, we just really went through a beet moment, everybody wanting beets, and there's other times where that's just not the most popular. So I have what I have called gateway juices, the ones that for people that eat the standard American diet, they've never really tasted a juice other than the stuff that they buy from the store in a carton that's been, pasteurized, sanitized, all nutrients taken out of it, and it's going to sit on the shelf for 45 days. That's very different from a raw cold pressed juice. Our juice has maximum shelf life of 7 days. We put 4 to 5, depending on the recipe. Our citrus is what preserves it. And so, again, each one has its moment. Like the gateway juices would be things like our Soul Shine, which is pineapple, apple, cucumber, mint. It's on the sweeter side versus savory, but it has crucial health benefits. The cucumber is going to hydrate your body twice as much as drinking just water alone. The pineapple is super anti-inflammatory. The mint in it is antiviral. So everything has in the combination thought put behind it as far as food healing and purpose. Jubilee, again, your favorite. That was actually, I would say, carrot apple, specifically carrot Granny Smith apples, the first juice I ever tasted 30 years ago. And back then we didn't have things like ginger and turmeric. That just wasn't something in the juice world that, in the United States that we would know about. And so my combination now adds that ginger and turmeric, which are antiviral, antibacterial, and great for inflammation. We all know turmeric for arthritis, for helping with arthritis and pain. So that one's always very, very popular. And then as far as our greens, we do have those people that are fearful of fruit sugar, which, I feel like I have to educate every day on the importance of eating and drinking that fruit sugar. Our green envy are most popular, and it's probably a very similar recipe to any juice bar or, juice recipe book that you'll ever find, but it's kale, cucumber, celery, apple, lemon, and ginger. So you probably get less than a half an apple per bottle, and it's more savory, kind of on the bitter end. I use the really dark Lucianato kale. It's an Italian kale. So it's just really rich, kind of more on that bitter side. So we have sweet to bitter. Dr. RX is the ones I have a lot of customers that have cancer and they're going through treatments, and they drink the one with bell pepper, carrot, turmeric, ginger, garlic, which is a huge antiviral. So that's the doctor's prescription, we call it.
What motivated you to go into juicing?
Yeah, I am a health nerd. I was raised really with a standard American diet, and I was one of those kids that was a picky eater too. So I grew up in San Diego. There were points both parents worked, and I can remember us all going through drive-thrus. I was a McDonald's junkie. The sister
Really?
liked Arby's, mom liked Burger King. It was bad, and I liked my pizzas, and I was like a colt, long and lean, could eat like a horse and not gain weight, and played sports, and it didn't affect me. But I took my first nutrition class at San Diego State, and I was hooked, learning about how that can affect the body. And I really kind of started my journey then. So that's like, 20, 21 years old, at the point where I jumped off and started diving into dietetics and nutrition and living that kind of lifestyle. So health benefits, and San Diego was full of juice bars. I mean, and it's all mom and pops. So, I've just never been a fan of having a chain or a franchise, and I don't see how it can be successful, but I loved all the little places along the beach that you could go and get a fresh pressed juice.
What brought you to Fairhope?
Oh, gosh, I had been here on a pharmaceutical conference years ago and knew of Fairhope, and I thought this is the way people should live. I was staying at the Grand Hotel, went in and sat at Master Joe's and sat at the bar and had sushi by myself and shopped down the street. I think I got a little treasure at Hertha's consignment, and thought, what a magical place, and walkable. The lifestyle seems so good to just be outdoors in the water, but never imagined I'd ever get to live here. I was living in Charlotte at the time, and met someone that had kids in Robertsdale, and we started coming down to visit and decided to make the leap.
You touched on it a little bit, and I do want to now talk about it in more detail, the specific health benefits from juicing. What are some experiences you've had, or maybe for your customers?
Well, it's really not truly to be a fad diet. I think people come to it for weight loss, but the benefits I believe behind it is that it's reduction in inflammation. When I talk people through doing cleanses, it really does reset your taste buds and your microbiome. So you're feeding that microbiome healthy foods that the good bacteria can flourish with. You are reducing inflammation. You are changing your taste buds so that you actually know what real food tastes like. So if you're giving yourself a little break, you can get off that. The processed foods really start to taste a little differently. I've taken people through cleanses that are diabetics, and their blood sugar remains more stable than when they have just a regular meal. There's so much to it that you're taking out the insoluble fiber in juice. So you're getting a couple pounds of just fresh organic produce in every jar. So more than you could ever really sit down and eat. So you're getting all those vitamins, minerals, nutrients, live enzymes when you drink a raw juice. So many things for disease prevention. We know that chronic disease starts in inflammation, and, a plant-based diet has been proven over and over, including juicing, to, reverse and prevent just chronic degenerative diseases. In fact, it was Dr. Max Gershon, if anybody's heard of the Gershon theory. He was from San Diego. He brought juicing to the U.S. in the 1920s when he saw that how it affected patients with cancer, reversing cancer and other diseases. So he had a huge protocol, and it's still, a practice today.
For those who are new to it and they are concerned about the sugar, what would you say to them? Should they be concerned?
Regarding fruit sugar, no, they shouldn't be, because if we're eliminating fruits from our lives, again, we're eliminating critical body building, body healing nutrients. So I understand the concern with sugar, but fruit sugar just does not react in the body the same way our processed sugars do. We talk about the glycemic index, high glycemic versus low. Really, fruits and vegetables in combination do keep these fruit sugars on that lower glycemic, not spiking your insulin. And again, I've taken diabetics through who are testing their blood, work through an entire cleanse where they're drinking 5 juices a day, 5 different recipes, and their blood sugar is stable versus a regular meal. So it's nutritionism. There's a lot of bad marketing about eating fruits and sugars. And throughout, my 30 years since my college days, it's always one food or the other that's the devil. And I'm sure you've seen it too, whether it's carbs or fats or, 80s and 90s, it was being fat free.
Yes, fat free.
And now it's like, let's eat the fat, eat it all, that's what's going to keep you skinny. You just can't demonize one nutrient. And the common sense thing is to eat things that were grown in good soil, things that come from the earth. Your body will receive it. Get rid of the sanitized, prepackaged, chemical-laden foods that are all in the, central part of your grocery store, and just add more plants. Above all, add more raw and lightly cooked plants to your diet, and your body knows what to do with it. Your body knows to get to a stable weight. It knows how to fight off disease. It just, there's nobody can question that. So again, with fruit and fruit juices specifically, if it's straight juice, if it's, one straight fruit, but if you have it in combination with vegetables, there's no fear on the sugar count in my book.
We're almost out of time, but as we wrap up, what is some advice you would give to someone looking to start their own business?
I would say talk to others that are in the business. And there are, say now, a lot of consultants. The juice business, people that go into this are generally really, really good people that are, this is their dream too. So I have talked to many, there's a new juice place, Ginger and Spice in Mobile. And when she started following me, I reached out and we were talking. So, we talk and consult. My great friends down at Agape, down in Gulf Shores, kind of the Foley area. She was the first cold press juicer in the whole area, Stephanie Rhodes. And she even let me come down and use the big juicer before I invested in a larger juicer. So, talk to people. Good Nature Products they're the equipment people that have created these machines, the cold press machines, and are just really the premier people in the area. They're in Buffalo, New York. They have great consultants, chefs. They'll work with you, but just talk to people. It's not an easy business. It's not a super lucrative business. You definitely got to be passionate. Franchises cost a lot. As you've heard, the equipment costs a lot, and the labor is really heavy. So I've definitely taken the harder route to it, not taken on investors. I've had lots of opportunities, but I haven't taken that leap yet. I just really want to stay that small community based juicer and, grow as I can, no pun intended, but organically, move into that where I can do more healing foods and other things.
I love your packaging.
Thank you. I had a wonderful branding friend that used to be my neighbor that really put me through the rigmarole of it's not just a logo. You want to come up with a brand and ask me a lot of questions about why. And, I sent him pictures of sunsets from Fairhope. Really, my logo, the seahorse, represents strength, but we also have seahorses in Mobile Bay. And Bruce Larson's beautiful sculpture on the bluff overlooking Fairhope is something that symbolizes this town for me. And I asked him if I could use his seahorse as my logo, and he said he would love to, but there's a patent on it, so I could use any other seahorse, but I couldn't use his, which I'm still heartbroken. I had some beautiful renderings for that, but I love his seahorse, and he was wonderful about it. But and then the bottles, I've had to pivot a couple times just during COVID. Supplies dried up, and I'm really proud that I started with glass bottles. A lot of people use plastic, and they're 3 or 4 times more expensive. But I would close down versus go to plastic bottles, and so I was the first in glass here. We'll call it, instead of first in class, I was first in glass in Fairhope, and I've influenced others to pivot and get away from plastic. So that makes me feel really good.
Well, you make it easy too for people because you will take the bottles back and then repurpose them.
Yes.
So, and reuse them. I love that they're glass.
Thank you. Everything tastes better in glass, doesn't it?
Well, it's got a better feel.
And it's ultimately reusable until we have to retire them. And then we try and find ways to retire them. But, I tell people, if you want to take them home and make your salad dressing in them, make your own juice in them or smoothie, please do. But, we feel good that we're not adding to that plastic pollution, and it's just healthier, so much healthier, especially if you think you're putting so much citrus in there and you don't want plastic leaching into your body. So,
right. What's some advice someone gave you when you were having a tough time and wondering, what the heck am I doing?
Oh my gosh. There's this wonderful little juice bar. In fact, I feel like mine looks like hers in Pacific Beach. It's called Juice Wave. And Arlie, I actually talked to her before I started too. And she's just small. She does her acai bowls and her juice in glass. And I reached out to her because I was getting a lot of pressure from a lot of different people that wanted to either buy in, franchise me, build a building here, have me move in. And I was feeling all this pressure. And my whole goal was never to do any of that. I just wanted to be community-based, live my happy life. And her advice, I'm like, how do you do this? And how do you not burn out? Because I was working long hours, exhausted. I didn't feel like I was taking care of myself. And she says, you close down 4 times a year and take a vacation. People will come back. And in this day and age, you feel like you can't do that you always have to be on and be there to please people and have it. And so I'm slowly starting to take that advice. And she said, and, stay true. Big groups can come in, or people that want to franchise you, and that, what your mission is, and that doesn't suit you. And it may sound easier and it may sound better, but, I think you'll lose yourself. And so she kind of just centered me back to, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to be out of juice sometimes. And you can't pour from an empty juice bottle, right? So that was the best advice.
I love that. And it's great advice and a good reminder for us all, the importance of staying true to your goals, but also allowing yourself grace and taking a break when you need to, so that you can have the fight.
Right.
To push through.
Right. I think in our society, we haven't been able to step back and honor health, the mind, body, spirit. It's the rat race. And unfortunately, coming from the pharmaceutical industry, or fortunately, I have that work ethic, and it's a people pleaser work ethic too, of, always being there, always getting it done. But you can't do that. Sustainability is having time outside, taking care of yourself physically, nourishing your body, getting good rest. And so I'm honoring that now. Going into my 5th year as a juicepreneur, finally getting there.
High five over the mic.
Yay!
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing your juicing journey. It's been inspiring and it's so cool for me to know more about how you started. I have been a fan of your juices since that first time, and
Thank
I've
you, Lenise.
introduced it to some others as well.
You have, and there's so many other juicers around that you've just got to try them all. I'm a huge proponent, wherever I travel, to try them all. And of course, you got to have your favorites. But, I think the whole goal is that we need more of this. And I'm glad to see it happening in our area in South Alabama. I mean, who knew that we could be known for all this clean, healthy food that's coming into our area? It's just a beautiful thing.
It is, and I am here for it.
Absolutely. You're a proponent and a good example. Excellent example.
Oh, thank you. So before we say goodbye, who is someone you would like to hear on this podcast?
Oh gosh. I like to hear these stories of people pivoting from corporate to their calling or their heart's yearning. And I think Tate Sutton, who I just went on her retreat in Maine, she's a yogi and has traveled a lot in her life and had other careers and turned around and came back to yoga. Just came back from India and just launched her first retreat that we went on. So it's called Sacred Retreats. Tate Sutton, and I liked a lot of her story, and I would like to know more and where she's going.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
This was fun.
Absolutely. I hope to see you live soon.
Living It Up with Lenise has been a production of Fox 10 Podcasts and myself, Lenise Lagan, with the music by Kendall Faust. My thanks to Lorie for speaking with me. Her passion just shines through as she is living her purpose of improving our community's health. I'm curious, what do you think about trying juicing? What healthy rituals keep you balanced? Let me know. Send me a message on my website, leniselagan.com. Thank you for tuning in to this conversation, and be sure to leave a review or share it with a friend, especially if you found it helpful. Again, thanks for listening and always for your support.